Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a closer look at Kentucky Derby Contender Track Phantom, a horse with a lot of early speed and a horse with some talent as well. He's a multiple stakes winner. He won the Grade 3 Lecomte 3 starts back, and in his most recent start, the Louisiana Derby, Mike, I thought it ran a lot better. He ran a lot better than it looks. Very fast pace, only part of the pace hanging around at the end.
It was a very solid pace in his most recent start, going a mile and 3/16. The race did go to closers. He couldn't quite hold on there, but as is his one. I mean, every time you watch this horse run down, he's usually on the lead in the stretch. He's really game, even when he gets beat.
Let's take a closer look at Track Phantom. 7 starts, 3 wins, 2 seconds, 1/3. Career best Beyer speed figure 94. He earned the 94 in his last 2 starts. The Risen Star, where he set the pace and just finished second to Sierra Leone, who's going to be one of the favorites in the Derby, and of course the Louisiana Derby. He's a $500,000 yearling by Quality Road. I'm curious as to 2 issues with Track Phantom. A, how far does he want to go? His dam was a graded stakes winning sprinter. Quality Road, kind of a middle distance runner with his progeny. And B, he's a speed horse. The favorite in Horse to Beat, Fierceness, is a speed horse. Is this race flow going to work against this horse?
Yeah, that's one thing you have to, that'll all come more into focus when the race is actually drawn, Dan, and we'll see. But certainly he is most likely going to be up there with at least Fierceness and maybe some others keeping him company. I'm more concerned about the first point you brought up, Tom. I'm not sure that a mile and a quarter is actually going to, hit this horse between the eyes. I think he's good. I don't get the impression when I watch him run that he wants more distance. And I realized that he was on a pretty solid pace in his most recent start, but 2 starts back in that Risen Star, it was a wet track. That pace was pretty reasonable. He was in control, and he ran well that day, but Sierra Leone came and ran him right over in the stretch.
The great trainer Steve Asmussen has given this horse plenty of foundation. 7 route starts since October the 1st. He should be fit and ready to go for the Derby, and one of his wins, his maiden win, did come going around 2 turns at Churchill Downs. So it's nice to know that he has that in his holster, a previous win over the track. From a Beyer speed figure standpoint, Mike, Track Phantom is not slow at all. He is going to have to improve. With his speed, though, he is likely going to affect the outcome of the Derby in some way.
I agree with that. I think he's talented enough to be involved in the outcome of this race. Whether that means he's going to be, fighting for it down to the wire or not remains to be seen. But he is going to be part of this pace, and he's not one of those horses who you want to be tracking and then having to race at some point, because he's not just going to hand the lead over to you. He will make you earn it to get by him at the end of his race. Again, I'm not sure that a mile and a quarter really helps him, but he's a talented racehorse.
And he's a fighter, as you mentioned. In the Louisiana Derby, I do think you can give him the excuse of the fast pace. In the Risen Star, was it just simply a situation, though, that Sierra Leone was a better horse at that 1.125 distance on that day? Do you think the mud was a legitimate excuse? I don't think so. I thought he ran just fine, and he did have things go his way.
Yeah, he had a really nice trip in that race. I didn't feel like the wet track affected him at all. And listen, he was no match for Sierra Leone in there, but he ran well. He was clearly second best. Catching Freedom was a nice horse, was behind him in that race. I mean, he ran a really nice race that day. He just happened to get steamrolled by a horse who's one of the, 1 or 2 best 3-year-olds in the country right now.
Only time he was off the board was in the Louisiana Derby, where he had to contest a very fast pace. We'll see how fast the pace is in the Derby. Of course, we know Fierceness, the likely favorite, is going to be forwardly placed. Track Phantom, though, has done some good things in his career for Steve Asmussen. Joel Rosario retains the mount in the Kentucky Derby, coming into this race off paired Top Beyer's 94.